Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Unscripted. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while. I'm Marian, and welcome to my channel. If you're new, you know, I was listening to a financial advisor recently, someone who specifically advises people on living abroad and residency programs and second passports, that kind of thing. And I want to be clear up front. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just an American living in the Czech Republic. And I found something of what he said really interesting, and I want to talk through it and share it with you. Because some of it directly affects people like me, and maybe people like you if you're watching my channel. Well, one of the first things that he talked about was the residency programs in the Gulf. Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, Qatar, countries that have been competing for foreign residents and foreign capital for years. Well, I know you're going to say, yeah, but it's all torn up, and who wants to do that? But keep listening. You see, most people assume that these programs only go one direction, up. Prices go up, requirements get stricter, doors close, and historically that's been true. But he made an interesting point that some of these Gulf countries might actually lower their prices or introduce new lower entry points right now. He was talking specifically about Saudi Arabia, which has a lifetime residency program that's currently priced around $213,000 US dollars. And then he speculated that they might introduce lower and cheaper different categories with the lower entry points. He didn't say exactly why, but I think we have a theory. The war in Iran is right next door to all these countries, right? So wars are expensive. They're not just for the countries fighting them. They're also expensive for the entire region around them. The infrastructure, the rebuilding, the economic instability. The Gulf states are going to need capital, a lot of it. And one of the fastest ways to attract fresh capital has always been to make it easier and cheaper for people to come in. So the counterintuitive idea here is that the regional instability, which you'd think would make people leave, might actually create better entry conditions for people thinking about residency in the Gulf, because these countries need what most mobile people bring with them. The UAE has already made it incredibly easy, and you can apparently get a golden visa in about 2 hours. 2 hours, which tells you something about how seriously they take attracting people. And then there's Africa, the part that genuinely surprised me. You see, this wasn't the section that I wasn't expecting, and honestly, the one that I've been thinking about since I listened to it. He talked about Africa as a genuinely emerging player in the citizenship market by investment space. Not as a backup plan or a last resort, but as a real option that more and more people, including his own clients, are asking about. These are billionaire clients that he deals with, millionaires and billionaires. Okay. So countries like Egypt, Botswana, Saint Tome, Principe, they already have formal citizenship programs, but he thinks more African countries are going to join the citizenship market because they figured out that citizenship is an asset that they can leverage. And here's the thing that reframed it for me. You see, he mentioned that some of the wealthiest people on the continent, the African millionaires and the African billionaires, and some millionaires and billionaires around the world, have publicly said that they're investing in Africa. They're not buying property in London. Africa said that they're not going to buy property in the UK. They're not going to put money into the European market or American markets, that they're only going to invest in Africa, which tells you something about where the real confidence is building. He also said that expat financial advisors, people like him, are starting to add African citizenship options to the packages that they offer their clients. Not because they're pushing it, but because clients are specifically asking for it. And that's a meaningful shift in how people are thinking. And then there's the political side, which I think is the most interesting part of all of this. You see, the visa situation, because what goes around comes around. He made a point I hadn't recently connected before, but I had heard about how the United States had cut off a lot of visa-free travel to a number of African countries in recent years, and now Africa is turning around and doing the exact same thing. So if the U.S. says that you need a visa to come here, well, now Africa is saying you're going to need a visa to come to us. And he was saying that this trend is only going to accelerate, that the era of Americans being able to travel freely almost everywhere on the strength of a U.S. passport is quietly eroding. Not dramatically, not all at once, but steadily. Which means the people who have already built some kind of optionality somewhere else are going to be in a very different position than the people who assumed that they would stay the way things always were. I'm not saying that to be an alarmist. I'm saying it because I think it's genuinely useful to know, especially if you're thinking about living abroad or you're already doing it. The world is changing rapidly under our feet. Look, I'm not qualified to tell you what to do with your money or where to move. I'm just someone who made a big life change myself, and I'm paying attention to how the world is shifting around that decision. And what struck me the most about everything that he said is this, that people who are going to have the most options in the next decade are the ones who started building those options before they even needed them. And I didn't move to the Czech Republic because I was running from something. Yeah, I saw America changing, but I wasn't necessarily running from it. I always thought that I might go back. But I do think about what it means to have built a life somewhere else, to not have everything dependent on one country, one system, one set of rules that can change overnight. Whether you're thinking about moving abroad, or you're already living abroad, or you're just watching people like me do it from a safe distance, I think that instinct is worth paying attention to right now. Anyway, those were the things that stuck with me. I wanted to share them with you, and I'm just the person living the experiment. Talk to you later. Bye.